Hey there, Jamie with Brazelton Realty here. Are you thinking about buying a house in another state or even maybe another city that's a long ways away? And you're thinking to yourself, man, in this market, houses are going so fast, I just won't have an opportunity to drive or fly someplace to see it. Well, I've got news for you. In the world today, we have so many ways of virtually seeing houses. You need to take advantage of this. This is a way for you to see the house in a lot of detail, really, and be comfortable putting in an offer without physically being present. So if you're new to this channel, before we begin, I just want to say welcome. We talk about all things real estate related here in Northern Colorado. And if this is something that's interesting to you, please hit the subscribe button and also hit the like button if this is something of value to you. All right, so you want to see a property, but you don't want to travel there to look at it in person. That's okay. We've got you covered. There's a company that came out quite a few years ago, actually, that we use a lot. It's called Matterport. It will give you a digital virtual tour of that house. Now, you've probably seen these where you can click around and you can go into the living room or the dining room or the bathroom and you can look around. It gives you a 3D experience. It's almost like being in that house physically, and it'll let you tour and really get a feel for size. It'll get you a feel for the layout of the property and the flow of the property. And it's a really awesome way to see that house without being physically present. The other thing that a lot of agents are doing is not only are they doing the Matterport, they're also doing a video to give virtual tours. So they'll walk around with a phone or a good camera and they'll video as they walk around to give you the flow of the house, give you the size of the house, to give you some of the features, and to give you the idea of what it would look like if you were physically walking in there. The nice thing about the video tours is the aspect ratio isn't really going to change. Where on a picture, I can make a tiny little kitchen look like a gigantic kitchen, and a lot of times photographers will do that. On video, it's much harder to change that aspect ratio and make things that are small look big or big small. So you're going to get a more realistic picture of what that house actually looks like. Now, the other thing that agents can use, as long as they have approval from the people selling the house and the listing agent, is they can actually walk around that house with their cell phone and do a video call. And these are really helpful as well because you're not going to see all the polished video and the polished Matterport or the pictures and stuff. You're going to see raw footage of this agent walking around with his or her cell phone, usually giving you perspective of all the areas of that house that you want. It's also nice because you can say, hey, let me see under the sink. I want to see how new the plumbing is, or I want to see these other areas that you normally wouldn't see in a virtual tour. You can see these. And in the world we're in, with all the technology and with real estate moving so fast, a lot of sellers are perfectly fine with agents doing this because they realize that buyers need to make decisions really, really quick. And this is just another way that they can use technology to give those buyers as much confidence as they possibly can to purchase their property. Now, one thing that I have heard time and time again is I don't feel comfortable buying a property sight unseen. I don't feel comfortable relying on the video and the phone call and the pictures and the Matterport. I understand, I get it, and I'm the same way. But here's the thing within the contracts, at least here in Colorado, this is how it works. You may put an offer in on a property, and you know as much as you possibly can, but you weren't able to see it physically in person. You can schedule an inspection, and I recommend you do schedule that inspection, and then you fly out or you drive and you meet that inspector at that property. Now, you have already seen this property, even though you haven't seen it physically, but you haven't seen it in person. And this gives you that opportunity to build confidence in that property by seeing it in person and going through it with an inspector who's also going to point out all the issues that they see with that property. There's always going to be issues. They're going to do that for you. So don't let that scare you. But it gives you that opportunity to see the house in person. Now, let's say you see that house in person and it is nothing like you saw within the pictures and video. I would say your agent didn't do a very good job of representing you. So that's another issue. But if it's not what you thought it was, then the inspection will allow you to terminate that contract and you can go on the search for another property. Now, I want to say this. Be careful that this clause is not designed for you to look at properties the first time. It's being used like this a lot of times because of the nature of the real estate market that we're in. So be very slow to take too much of an advantage of this clause, but it can be used to protect you in case properties are just misrepresented and you didn't realize that until you saw it in person. Now, within the market that we're in, a lot of times buyers don't move into the house right away. Sometimes they'll give the sellers, a week or a couple days maybe to get all their stuff out and move into that property. So one of the things that we can take advantage of is virtual closings. The title company can send DocuSign paperwork or even send a notary to your house, wherever that is in another state or another city, and have that individual or have you sign paperwork virtually in order for that closing to take place. So you don't need to fly here a week before you can even live in the property to get all the papers signed. You can do that virtually, and then you can move here when it makes sense. And this is especially important when it comes to relocation companies, if you're working with one of those, because you don't want to be here a week, because that means you're going to have to stay in a hotel for a week and you won't even have all your stuff. So you want to time that in a way that makes the most sense. So don't let closing be a concern for you either, because we have a lot of things that we can do to overcome that battle and make it as convenient and conducive for the situation that we're dealing with. Now, with all that being said, I'm curious, for those watching this video, what is your favorite way of seeing a house? Comment below and let me know. I'm curious, as a real estate agent, what things that we can do or do better, do differently to help people see houses virtually before they see them in person. Now, I hope this was helpful. I hope this is information that you're going to find useful and that it's going to make the process of you moving somewhere out of state or into another city just an easier, more enjoyable process. Hopefully this puts your mind at ease just a little bit. Now, I'm going to put a Colorado market report down in the description. If you are looking at moving to Colorado, feel free to download that report. It's absolutely free. It's filled with information that hopefully you will find useful, and it will better inform you if Colorado is going to be your next move.